Hello, football fans, and welcome to the first episode of the Alliance Football Podcast. I'm your host, Rod Villagomez, and this is going to be just as much of an experiment as the league is turning out to be. Spring football, it seems to be all the rage lately. We've got this league, obviously, and the XFL and the new Freedom League that are all want to make their bids to try to become the next NFL. I don't know. I know these leagues aren't trying to be the NFL or anything like that. They're trying to be their own league. But you got to think and hope that at some point they're maybe trying to set their sights as becoming one of the next big leagues, or maybe a feeder league into the NFL. And again, you know, many leagues have tried. We all remember the USFL and various other leagues that did not succeed in becoming a feeder league to the NFL. And there's really no other reason to have a spring league other than to try to market your players into getting into the NFL. But as we'll look over the next few weeks, obviously we're still a little ways away from the season kicking off in February, and mini camps have started, and you know, teams are starting to actually take form and to look like they're about to hit the field. You know, you just got to think that these folks and a lot of these guys on this roster are guys that are probably trying to make their name for the NFL. Obviously, there are players that were NFL players that are trying to make their comebacks. And so this league is going to be mixed with a lot of different types of talent. And, you know, they brought on coaches like Steve Spurrier that they're trying to become a legitimate league. And I think we're at the point now where I think a spring league could be viable in America, only because here's the thing. If you look at college rosters and then you look at the funnel of professional sports that happens, especially in sports like baseball and in sports like football, where, you know, the top echelon of the profession, it's such a huge difference between the amount of talented players there are out there. And I feel as if it's time that we give a spring league an actual decent shot. Because there's so many talented athletes out there, so many talented football players that don't get a chance to actually play professional football. And I feel like we're missing out on seeing some of those guys, some of those college players and some of those semi-pro guys that never really got a full-fledged shot at the NFL, but are still great football players that could still put on an entertaining product. And I'm hoping that with the leadership of the AAF and the guys that have actually formed this league, you know, they've been around football. They know a thing or two about what it takes to put on a professional football performance, because that's really what it is, right? I mean, Charlie Ebersol being the head of this thing as the general manager. Bill Poland and you know, names like Troy Polamalu and Hines Ward, Justin Tuck, right? All these folks, they've played the sport. They know what it's like to put on a professional level football show for people. So hopefully with the backing of this core of folks, there will be a decent spring league that we can watch. Again, I think what's different from this league versus maybe a USFL that tried to do what they did was, you know, in this league, all the teams are owned by the league. So there's no jockeying for ownership to try to outdo the other, or, you know, I don't know. Maybe it takes the greed away from it. I don't know. And maybe it's a bad thing. We just don't know. There's so many questions out there. But I think that with the league owning all the teams, it may cut down on a lot of the undercutting and backbiting. And maybe if one entity owns all the teams, especially in a spring league, especially in a startup league where there's really no actual leverage yet, and in this environment, you know, in today's sports environment, I think that might be the safest way to go. But we'll see. And again, there's not very many teams that actually are in this league. There's only 8 teams, so it's kind of probably not that hard to actually, I guess, oversee all of them. But I guess we'll see. So if you're new to the AAF, like all of us are going to be, and many of us are, I am. This is, again, a podcast dedicated to the league, and we're going to learn all together about what the AAF is all about. And again, I'm going to, week by week, hopefully take you through some of the opening shots of what this league actually is. And we'll take a look at it as it progresses. Opening day, which is actually February 9th, 2019. You can catch the show on CBS, which, is going to be a big day for them, right? It's huge. Atlanta, Orlando, San Diego, Antonio. Let's get to the teams. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. Just exciting to talk about another football league and the possibility of it. So the teams that are announced, all right, are the Atlanta Legends, the Birmingham Iron, the Orlando Apollos, the Memphis Express, Arizona Hotshots, Salt Lake Stallions, San Antonio Commanders, and the San Diego Fleet. So San Diego gets a team back after they lost the Chargers. San Antonio gets professional football. Salt Lake City, Utah gets football. Arizona, while they already have the Cardinals, will get the Hotshots. Atlanta, even though they have the Falcons, get the Legends. Birmingham gets football. Orlando gets football, and Memphis gets football. I know Memphis is excited about football. They already have a podcast dedicated to their team, so thankfully for that. But this is going to be one of those tests in markets that feel like they deserved to have an NFL team and didn't get one. So with Phoenix having Arizona, that's going to be a huge thing back for them as well. San Diego, I'm pretty excited that they get a team. They lost the Chargers, and sure enough, here comes the Fleet to hopefully quell some of the angst from the loss of the Chargers. So those are all the teams that are going to be playing. And then if you look at the week 1 matchups between them, it's Atlanta at Orlando, San Diego at San Antonio, Memphis at Birmingham, and Salt Lake at Arizona. So the first game of the season will be on CBS, and so they'll get a chance to highlight. And of course, the championship game, they say, will also be on CBS as well. But that means that the rest of them are going to be on the CBS Sports Network, which a lot of people now get on their cable or their dish or whatever. So that means that you should be able to watch the game. So that is the opening setup for the league and for the teams that are going to be playing in this league. So this is just a quick podcast, down and dirty, just to announce that we exist and to get everybody familiar with the teams that are going to be taking the field. In the next podcast, let's talk about more of this AAF and what it's all about. But this is really just the opening salvo, if you will, that lets people know that this podcast exists and that it will continue to exist and to spotlight the Alliance of American Football. And we are going to talk weekly about the league. And once games start rolling around, we'll have game recaps. We should have player interviews and all of the stuff that you would come to expect from a podcast dedicated to a league. We are going to be that podcast. So I can't wait to start. I can't wait to dig more into this and to learn more with you about what the AAF is all about. I can't wait to see it play out. I hope that it lasts for more than one season. I hope that it lasts a full season. We'll see. There's a lot of folks that are getting behind this that make me think that it's going to be a viable option. So again, mini camps have already been underway. And so we're a couple of months out from Spring League football once again hitting the field. So not too long now, February 9th, mark your calendars. The kickoff is going to be on CBS. And we are looking forward to seeing it. So again, I'm Rod Villagomez. I'm your host for the show, and I cannot wait to start digging more into this. But until then, we are going to close it from here. And I'll come up with a catchy catchphrase soon. But I think for now, I'm going to say, who do you pledge allegiance to?